Yeah.
We are live.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 147 of Behind the Toolbelt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutter, solar. TC Backer, TC Backer.
Behind the Tool Belt is sponsored by Lead Scout. Find out more at leadscoutapp.com.
TC Backer, TC Backer.
I'm the Tool Belt fans. What's happening tonight? Michael freaking Stearns. What's going on, dude? Love the hairdo, bro.
Thanks, man. Is this G rated? Like, what is? Am I allowed to?
Probably G21.
It's whatever the fuck you want it to be, Mike.
Okay, so I felt after watching that video with the intro, like I want to run out of a tunnel through one of those fucking banners, like in football, right?
Yeah.
Like that's so job well done is what I'm trying to say.
There you go,
Awesome.
John.
Yeah, that's all John. John,
Yeah.
our media / marketing sales guru, wrote that and sung it. So that's his voice on there.
Shout out to the big homie John.
That's right. There he is. John's already on here already.
John's
God
up
bless
in here
him.
already, man.
God bless him.
Rick's
So
up in here.
how the hell you been since Florida, man?
Busy, increasingly cold. Yeah, we're in Buffalo, so it's frigid these days. So yeah, man. How about you?
About the same.
Busy as hell. Recently just got home. So ever since Florida, we are in South Carolina. So Florida, South Carolina, Ocean City, Maryland, and then Dallas. And then finally made it home Monday, Sunday, Saturday, one day this week. Got home playing catch up, which I'm sure you can only freaking imagine. We got a lot of cool things going on. I mean, as far as TC Backer goes, Behind the Tool Belt goes, we're looking forward to RoofCon. I think there's about 17 to 20 of us going down to RoofCon. We got a big display set up down there. We actually have a special, I don't know, something going on, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet. As much as I want to, I don't even know what to call it, but it's going to be special. So make sure of any of our viewers that are listening to tune in to when we're down there. And then if you're at RoofCon, make sure you come over to our booth and check us out. And at some point in time, I think we're going to actually try to market it. I would say Monday morning, we're going to display whatever our little thing's going to be that we're going to do down there. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but it's going to be dope. Like it's going to be super awesome. So we're looking forward to that. So tell us what the hell it is that you actually do. When I went on your Facebook page, bro, it doesn't even tell me what the hell you do. So what the hell is it that you do?
Apparently a really poor job at marketing myself. So before we get into that, Ty, how many hours a night do you sleep, if any?
How many hours, if
That's
any?
a loaded question, bro.
I would say a good maybe 4 or 6 hours, about all I need. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why did you ask that?
I was just curious. You seem awfully busy. Last time I saw you, you were on a red eye from Denver into Florida doing an 18-hour stream or however long it was. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible. And so,
I think that was a 50-hour stretch, 51 hours to be exact, that I was up
yeah.
from Denver to, I'm still
Mhm.
fucking mush brain from it. So from Denver to Florida, that was a 50-hour tour, 51-hour tour right there, bro. I think at like the 39th hour, I was not quite hallucinating yet. I think I was teetering on that sane to insane to genius,
Yeah.
or at least I thought that I was a fucking genius. But I was teetering on that insanity marker there. But I think I pulled it off well, right? I still maintain composure.
Listen, you held it together very well. I mean, I would have thought, had I not known, you got a full 8 hours. Okay, so
Oh, good.
yeah, I tip my proverbial hat to you.
Yeah.
You see this?
Was that a fucking rock star or something? Red
What is
Bull?
that?
Nah, dude, we don't drink rock stars around here.
36 grams of sugar. Where's the caffeine content in here?
It's a lot, man.
There's vitamin B12, 120% of that. It doesn't, I don't even think it tells. Oh, 114 milligrams of caffeine. That's, and 3 packs of cigs a day.
It's good. Yeah, keep the lungs healthy. So I got this LaCroix. I don't know how you pronounce it. But if you guys want to sponsor me, LaCroix, reach out.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Right?
So to answer your question, I founded Ascend Digital Agency, and we're a contractor, more specifically roofer-based and roofer-oriented digital marketing agency. That's my elevator pitch.
Okay. So what would you do for a contractor? So if there's any contractors out there listening right now, give us your 3-minute pitch. Like, why would we want to use you, and what value are you going to add to it? And what separates you from other digital media content companies?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So how should I answer this? All right, so first things first, it depends how I'd handle it, right? So you've got different contractors in different places in their business, right? So you have to understand where exactly that contractor is, where exactly that contractor wants to be. And then from there, you want to create a roadmap of how you're going to get them there, right? So Ty, if you come to me and you're like, man, we're fucking slammed right now, but you know what? I don't feel like it's necessarily sustainable. So I want to build out an ecosystem to where in the long game, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months from now, we really want to be top of mind. We want organic traffic that we don't have to pay Google every time somebody clicks our site for. We're going to focus more on like an SEO centric campaign for you, right? To where depending on your website, build you a website, and that in and of itself is a point of differentiation. So, we don't use like themes. A lot of websites are built on like website builders or themes that are purchased, which are kind of like prefab, and the bones are there, and now you're just kind of plugging and playing brand, colors, things like that, and then content, obviously. So we build fully custom sites in HTML, JavaScript, CSS, kind of from the ground up. So we're not hamstrung from a design perspective of what we want to actualize when the website is ready to launch. We have that latitude, which I take great pride in. And I think it shows in the user experience when, you look at one of our websites. I compare it kind of like a track home versus a custom home, right? You can modify that existing blueprint or draw up a new blueprint to make whatever you want. I tell everyone all the time, like, my wife wants her laundry hookups here and next to our bedroom, and she wants this in the off-suite master. Like, we can make that happen for you. Whatever your vision is, we can create it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, if you want leads now, we're gonna focus more on Google Ads. We're not gonna push you into anything that doesn't make sense for you, and I think that's atypical in some marketing companies, unfortunately.
Okay. So basically it sounds like you handle SEOs, which is cool. And we'll have you explain exactly what they are for our viewers. You handle AdWords, which give you immediate results. If you
Yeah. So if you think about like when you conduct a search on Google, you're gonna have your search engine result page. So you go to Google and you're like, best roofer near me, right? And at the very top, you're gonna have like a carousel, which is your Google local service ads. If you're a contractor and you're not doing Google local service ads, go sign up for them. It costs you nothing to sign up for them, and it's a pay per lead model with Google, and the cost per lead is insignificant. I would say it's going to continue to go up over time, but it's been in effect for a few years, and it's worth you going to do. Right beneath that, you're going to have sponsored ads, which those are your pay-per-click ads. And essentially what we do is, we build out campaigns to instruct Google, like, hey, if somebody's looking for this, we want our website to show up because we're going to pay you if they click, because we know that, for instance, they're looking for a roofer. And there's some nuance to that, right? A lot of people are like, you're going to charge us to set up a Google ad account and you're going to charge us monthly to manage it. But there's things like negative keywords, for example. So let's say one of your keywords that you're targeting is roofing. One of the negative keywords you'd want to put is supply or supplies or supplier, because you know that if somebody's looking for roofing supplies, that's not a viable click to bring to your website for an opportunity to sell, because it's probably a contractor looking for a supply house or something of the sort, right? Or a homeowner looking to do a DIY project. So you essentially build out these robust lists to instruct Google, like, hey, this is what I want my ads to appear. Beneath that, you have the map section on the search engine result page. That's going to be a lot based on proximity to where the search is conducted. And beneath that, you have your organic, which, when people talk about the buzzword SEO, that has to do with SEO, is who's positioned where underneath the map section.
Okay. So if we wanted our name to pop up first, on the search, okay, is that like a more money we throw at Google, or is it more like a something that takes time,
like an algorithm type thing?
Yeah. Does it take, or is it a little bit of both?
No, when you say first,
Google and just boom, there it is, or does it take time? I guess.
So like at the very, very top.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a money grab. That's a pay Google thing, right? Because essentially what's going to happen is you're going to set up a bidding structure which says, hey, if somebody searches for this, we're willing to pay up to this many dollars for a click, right? In its most simplistic form. There's nuance within that, but essentially that's what's happening. There's a bidding system that takes place. Gotta love capitalism. Google's really good at making money, right? They make a lot of money off ad revenue. And it does benefit them to only have 10 spots organically on the first page, because you think about it, and like, if you're not looking on the first page, if you're not showing up on the first page, like, how many times in recent memory do you guys have where you went to the second or third or fourth page of Google to find a result, right? There's an inherent credibility that Google's going to serve you up the most relevant results.
Mm-hmm.
So most searches end somewhere on that first page.
Yeah, honestly,
Okay.
I can't remember the last time I ever went to the second page of Google.
Yeah, I don't think I ever did. You know what I mean? Usually like within the top 10, or, the second page, which would be what what's underneath where the map is. What's that called? The map, the couple, 2, 3 ad or
the sponsored ads or whatever.
Yeah, sponsored ads. Yeah, that's really all
Right.
I go. I look at the reviews real quick and that's it. And that's all. So, all right. So explain to us what SEOs are from soup to nuts.
Yeah, so search engine optimization is what SEO stands for, and essentially it's going to be the actions that you take in order to convince Google that you're most relevant, right, and that you should be on the first 10, in the top 3, in the top position of the organic search when somebody searches for a specific keyword. So there's a lot that kind of rolls up into that, and I'll explain as deeply as you want. I don't want to put the audience to sleep.
No, go deep.
Yeah, so there's a few things that are going to impact it very heavily. That's going to be content, right? It starts kind of with your site structure. What services do you offer? How is that information categorized on your website? What information there? How robust is the content? How in depth? Because you can go wide, right, and talk about everything that you do, all the materials you offer, but not go deep. We want to go wide and deep. As it relates to Google, because we want to have a lot of information to make us relevant for search. And we also want to make it categorized in a way that's easily accessible to the people that are looking for that information, right? So for instance, you wouldn't want to create a roofing website with roofing services and then have everything from tear off to install to roof repair, emergency services, tarping, everything on one page, because it's a clusterfuck, right? Mm-hmm. That's not a great user experience if I'm searching for something and I've got to go through 5,000 words to try to find the 13 syllables that are relevant to what I'm looking for, right? From there, it's ongoing, content deployment, right? So what type of blog content is being written, how frequently? And again, usually you want to think of it like if you're trying to do a DIY style SEO, like what are people going to look for? What are questions that are being asked to your salespeople, to your production managers, to your office staff when customers are calling in? What queries do they have that you guys have to give answers for? That's pretty helpful content. So if you create content through that lens, Google wants to ultimately create the best user experience possible. And the reason is that the more people that have success when they search for something and find a result that they're happy with, the more people come back to Google, the more they can charge roofing contractor A to run their ads to get in that top position, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then there's internal linking. So if you've ever been on a website and you're scrolling through and you notice something's like blue hyperlink and you click it, it brings you to another page relevant to whatever was linked out. That's like your internal linking structure. And then there's backlinks, which is essentially you're creating content and opportunities for somebody else to list your website on theirs, and you get to kind of piggyback off of their popularity or their domain authority, which will then help the relevance of your website.
Right on.
That's
right
good
on.
info.
So what would be the basic cost if someone wanted to hire you to develop their website?
Depends. There's a lot that goes into it.
That's good. Okay. So is it 20, like it ranges anywhere depending upon how elaborate they want to make it and how deep they want you to go. So are you thinking like somewhere between 25 and $2,500 and $20,000? Or is
Sure, that range works.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of different ways to tackle a website, right? So again, you have like the theme builders and you've got 5-10 page websites, you've got 40-page websites and kind of everything in between. So it's a really tough question to answer with any level of confidence.
Well, what do you recommend as somebody, like if I wanted a website, like where do you see like the best results when it comes to somebody's website? Is it a bunch of pictures? Is it a bunch of like 5-star reviews and before and afters? And like what would you suggest for somebody getting started out in the business?
Yeah, all those things, right? So for instance, if you're looking to build your own website, is that what you're asking?
No, I'm like, what would you suggest? Like if I hired you to develop our website?
Yeah. So usually what I'll do with my clients is I'll send a Dropbox link, and there's no such thing as too much, right? So fucking have at it. Give me all the photos, give me all the assets, the video, right? Give me everything that you've got. And then, we won't have that douchey guy in a hard hat with a fucking mallet hammer up on the roof where it's like, this guy's obviously have a roof for it's a stock image.
Right.
So give me all the assets that you have, any type of things that are going to build credibility with your audience, right? So it's trust badges, right? What type of accreditations do you have, especially local things like Chamber of Commerce, right? Are you a member of your local Chamber of Commerce, BBB? It's like, I see in the social groups all the time, people are like, fucking BBB, it sucks. It's like, you're not going to make a mint off of, being accredited by the BBB, but there is a certain percentage of the demographic that will take solace in seeing that badge when they come to your website. It's likely going to be an older demographic. Like you think about it, like I'm the last person you want to call to have a roof. Like I'm probably the worst customer. I'm going to ask you a million questions. And then I'll ask you another 50 after that. And it's like, I'm like the shitty millennial consumer. I say that somewhat in jest, but, that older demographic, it's the same thing with like Bing, right? There's not a lot of opportunity volume-wise comparatively on Bing as there is on Google. But guess who uses Bing, right? Like I use my stepdad, for example. The guy wouldn't use a computer for the longest time. And when I finally got him an HP from Best Buy and forced his hand to sit down on the computer, it came preloaded with Bing. And if God forbid I tried to change that on him, right? And he did all right for himself. So there's opportunity there as well. Moving into some of the other stuff on the website, like what opportunities do you have for your services to be accessible, right? Accessibility is really important when it comes to a consumer making a decision to purchase. So do you have financing? What kind of financing terms do you offer? And if you're going down this road, don't be afraid to do a little bit of market research as far as like what deals have you put through your financing in the last 12 months? What's the most popular in your market? Is it 0% for 12 months? Is it $139 minimum a month? Like what has been successful for you? in your market, because that can change from place to place. And obviously you want more people from within your geo target, right? To buy roofs from you.
Yeah.
Videos can be great. They can also be damaging if they're too large. So there's kind of a methodology to that, to where it doesn't bog down your site speed, for sure. Any external resources as well, like if you have a YouTube or if you have any type of free content that you're creating that you want people to see, like, for sure. Let's see, what else? And you want information, right? That sounds like a cop-out, shit-canned answer, but like, you want to provide people some clarity as to like what to expect, and if they want to learn more, give them the opportunity. There's a lot of people that won't want to learn more. They'll find what they're looking for, they'll click the call, and that's that. But yeah, as far as like testimonials, having a bunch of your testimonials on like a carousel slider coming in and out of the website, video testimonials, let's get some people on camera, right? Like, because it's one thing to see that you got, 379 reviews, and like, that's great, but like, how much more compelling is it if you've got 15 of your customers talking about how fantastic of a job it was? You think roofing and marketing, they're very similar in the sense of the level of distrust among the people that are purchasing the product or service, right?
Right.
Like, people fucking hate marketing companies, and I get it. There's a lot of reasons why, but there's the same level of distrust, I feel like, in contractors to homeowners, right? People are very skeptical. They've heard the horror stories, so like, we want to disarm them actively as quickly as possible. And the deeper that we go to build that rapport when they have that initial first impression when landing on your website, the better position your sales reps are when it comes time to sit with them at the kitchen table or do the inspection or whatever the case may be.
Right on. Yeah, that's all great information.
Yeah.
So what about like, like Yelp and Angie and all of those things? Like, do you suggest using any of those?
As far as like, I want more leads, so I'm going to go to Angie or I'm going to go to Yelp.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pay them per lead.
Yeah. What's your opinion on that?
It's a really good question. All right, we're going to fucking ruffle some feathers today. Hold on.
Let's do it.
Fuck yeah.
That's what you said. Ask you the good stuff. So.
Yeah, dude, load it up. So I've seen people that have horror stories with like an Angie. I've seen very few people that have had success with Yelp, and the people that I've seen have success with Yelp have been on the West Coast. As it relates to like roofing companies, it's a small sample size. I haven't talked to 1,000 roofing contractors saying they use Yelp and it's been terrible, but in memory, the only ones that have had success have been on the West Coast. With that being said, let's talk about Angie. I've had a lot of people that have had terrible results, and I've had some people that have done very well. So I'll give you a rundown of the experience and why I feel some have done pretty well, and then some have kind of had less than great things to say about their experience. So typically the people that are going to do well, they're going to do a couple things. Speed to lead, right? Angie sends you an opportunity, they're on that shit immediately, right? And whether they have an office person that's dedicated or they're just very adamant about being on their phone if it's a one-man show, like, they get to that shit quickly, right? Here's one thing you have to understand about any of these big lead aggregators. I don't want to pin on one in particular, but there inherently are going to be situations where they send shit opportunities that are never going to be viable for you to sell, right? I've heard things like, I was sold a roof last week. Why are you calling me, right? I never put in my information. I just went to their website. Or I've already had 5 meetings today already, and like, what? No, I don't want to meet with you. So the ones that have been successful, you have a system and a process around disputing these leads, and they don't make the shit easy, right? It's not something where, from my understanding and everyone that I've talked to, it's not something where you just call and say, yeah, that lead sucked, I want my money back. And they're like, all right, fine. It's going to take some elbow grease, right? But if you don't do that, right, and let's say 30% of the leads are shit, your cost per lead just went up 30%. And if you're paying $150 per lead, well, guess what? Now you're paying $197 per lead. And that's significant, right? Another thing is, like, a lot of the issues that I've seen typically happen on like their exclusive replacement leads, right? And all these premium leads where they're $100, $200 a piece. Target the repairs. Go after the repairs that are $45 a piece, right? Ty, in your experience, Chris, how many opportunities, if you go out to 10 repair opportunities, do any of them buy new roofs? Are you able to flip any of them?
What's the sample size of like length after repair? Because I feel like all 10 of those, if you do a good repair, are going to be the first phone call they make when it's come times to put a roof on.
Facts. But let's say right at the point of meeting the customer, is there a percent? If you had to assign a percentage to it, what percentage of those 10 do you think you could flip into an opportunity to replace the roof?
I'd say safely maybe 30.
Yeah.
Between 20 and 30%.
Yeah. So like,
I would say more like 50%.
You think?
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. So now, let's say, for instance, let's say you don't have a system and process in place to deal with the shit leads, right? And let's say you pay for 20 leads and they're $50 a piece. You've now paid $1,000 for these leads. They're all repairs, and there's actual 10 opportunities there. So within those 10 opportunities, we sell, let's say, 2 roofs. Let's say our sales guy's having a shit week, right? His football team lost and he's all fired up and whatever. He's just off his game. I mean, what is the average margin on a replacement that you guys are going to take away from those two jobs? Like, it's not terrible, right? It's definitely more than you're going to net up on that transaction. So it's like there's a time and a place for these things, and you have to be hyper focused on executing it the right way.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not endorsing Angie, to be clear. However, if I've seen it be successful for clients of mine and other contractors, and you just got to do it the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like a lot of work. We never did it. I don't think we've ever done like a pay per click type of thing other than like Google. Okay. But like, as far as like a third party, I don't know, Angie and whatever used to be out there, what was a Home Advisor and all that stuff. Like we didn't do that.
Service Magic.
Yeah, Service Magic, right? Like we fortunately haven't had to do anything like that. And it just seems like a lot of work. Like I've heard a lot of horror stories. Like you got to be on it, right? You got to be the first one to call them. You got to be the first one out there. And I think the biggest thing that I've heard is that there was already like 6 contractors, or they never answer the phone. Yeah. Like if you call them, it's like they don't get back to you. And if they do get back to you, there's already been 4 people there. Right. So there you are paying this $45 or $200. And it's like, if you're not paying attention, man, like they'll drain your bank account.
100%.
Like that's what I've heard from it. And it's like, dude, who has the time or the staff or the energy to like pay attention to that? It's almost like you need to hire like a paralegal, right? To like monitor that whole situation so you can just try to get your money back. It seems like I don't know. It just seems like a racket. And I think it's like an easy out or a cop out. Like if you do shit work or whatever, or you don't have enough referrals or you don't have enough chuck and jive to like go out and just start throwing yard signs out at every single stop sign in a community. Like we have a rule here where it's like the first call that I get from the township, they get $100. Like go out, here's 100 yard signs, put them everywhere. And as soon as we get a phone call from like the township bitching because of our yard signs out there, I tip the salesperson, because think about it, right? We're being noticed. And where do you think that yard sign's going? It's going in the back of his pickup truck. And guess how long it's going to be there for? Right. So him and all his little asshole buddies that he works with throughout the course of the week, they're going to see this yard sign in the back of his pickup truck for probably months, because if he's a contractor, like any of us other contractors, like we don't clean the bed of our trucks out for a very long time. Right. So every morning as the guys are pulling their shovels and their rakes and their weed whackers or whatever out of the back of the truck, they see your yard sign. So who do you think they're going to think of? Right. When they need a roof. Yeah. Right. So that's the joy I get out of it, because I laugh. It's like, yeah, fucking Dover Township called today. You know what I mean? Or West Manchester Township called today. Now we've backed off on that a little bit because the guys are so busy, but like, if we feel like we're coming into like a slow period, and that's the other thing too, I think people start resting on their laurels and they have it in their head. Well, yeah, January, February, these are all slow months. Well, stop thinking like that. It's slow because you thought that 3 months ago that we're going to slow down at a certain, no, you just backed off. That's like the time that you need to double down, like right before Thanksgiving, right? Just start doubling down on stuff, whether you're putting out yard signs, or you're canvassing the area, or you're doing direct mail, or you're doing Facebook ads, or whatever that is, now's the time that you need to double down, because worst case scenario, let's say it does trickle down a little bit, right? Well, you got to prepare. It's kind of like Google SEOs, right? Like you got to start it now if you want to see the results come spring, right? So what you're doing is you're branding. You're bringing that brand awareness to your neighborhood. You're bringing that brand awareness to your town, your city, whatever area that you need to concentrate on. And that's the thing. It's like when you're out there, when your salespeople are out there, what they need to do is just open their fucking eyes and look around. That's 3 tabs. That's 3 tabs. That's 3 tabs. Okay, well, then that should be at least 12 yard signs. Because if you get in a community like it, stick a yard sign at every single stop sign in that community. They would have to be blind not to know that you're not in that neighborhood already working.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people just don't have the energy, or what happens is you create lead babies, right? What we do is we use a company called Lead Scout, right? It's a direct mail company, and they do so much more than that. And I think they're trying to lose that stigma of the direct mail. What we do is we warm the neighborhoods up, right? Like we do geo-targeting, we do direct mail, and we do all kinds of things. So when your guys go out, what we do, we create Lead Scout babies, right? Like they almost don't want to go out. And the 20 addresses that we had targeted, we give our salespeople those 20 addresses, because they're the ones that gave them to us, because they canvassed it. They initiate the campaign to be launched. Right. So they own that neighborhood. They own it. Right.
That's smart.
Right. And that's what we try to train our guys from the very beginning. Like, look, we basically, and I'm not saying this as a rule of thumb, but I'm not saying we give you 1, you bring back 2. But that is a good methodology. Like if you tell your salespeople when they're first hired, like, look, I'm not going to give you any leads, but I'm going to give you these 80 addresses that we peppered the shit out of. Like they're all warmed up for you. We had a guy, Jamie, still works for us. I told him that, like, dude, he was ready to go to work that day. He's like, where do I sign, bro? Where's the W-9 that I need to fill out?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Super excited about it.
Yeah.
What I find is, in my experience, I've talked to a lot of guys, and it's like, you know, we need to have more leads for our guys. And it's like, I equate it to like creating the entitled teen. Your sales reps, you create entitled teens, because like, let's say you have a teenager or a preteen who's expected to do chores in order to get an allowance. And the chores would be sales activities for your sales team, right? And whether that's going and canvassing neighborhoods, putting up yard signs, getting on social media, developing relationships in the community, those would be their chores, right? And the pay for your sales team would be, you're going to help supply them leads, or you're going to give them nurture opportunities to increase the likelihood that they're going to get sales out of those opportunities. If I have a preteen or a teen at home and I'm paying them their allowance regardless of them doing their chores or not, yeah, when it comes time for me to crack the whip and like, what are you doing? I'm not paying you. Now there's going to be resentment there, right? Same thing with your team. If you're giving them leads, giving them opportunities, then after the fact, you're like, look, I need you to start doing this, this, and this, and this to help generate opportunities for the company. It's going to be a problem. It's not going to be an experience that they embrace and lean into. And if they do it, they're likely not going to do it with the right energy that you want them to do, right? It's going to be kind of like one of those fucking on the check the box type things. So I think it's really important. Like you said, you set the right expectation at the very onset with Jamie, right? You got them all fired up and shit. And I think that's so critical, right? And any relationship that you're going to have in life, the success of that is hinged on setting the right expectations, because then we can understand what to expect from that other person, to where we can create a viable reciprocal relationship that benefits us both in some capacity. And how it benefits us will differ in personal and business relationships, but we've got to be able to rely on one another for those things. And if you do that, it's a strong foundation for a successful relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Setting that expectation in the very beginning. I love it.
Yeah.
That's very important, man, because you can't have too many gray areas or too many unknown, when somebody gets hired. And honestly, I know for me personally, I've done that to people where I just haven't set that expectation clear. And it's kind of like, go figure it out, which isn't always the best option.
Sometimes it's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, but that can definitely burn you, man.
Right.
Because, we say it all the time. You don't want to hire smarter people than you and then tell them what to do all the time.
Exactly.
But it can also burn you.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Just to give them a clear idea of like, okay, this is what your job is, right? This is what, we hired you to do. And like Chris said, like, you definitely don't want to get in the way. I just read something recently, once again, it's like, drop the vine, you know what I mean? Let the vine go and let your team do what they do. But they definitely need clear direction, and it's like, you got to make sure that the team is rowing all in the same direction. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter like what the economic climate is. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, as long as the entire team is rowing in the same direction. And as leaders, as what we do, yes, sometimes we got to kind of like corral them back over, right? But we got to make sure everybody is rowing in the same direction. And that's what we've worked on this for probably almost 4 years now, coming up on 4 years of trying to make that clear expectation, accountability. And we're actually getting ready to start a book club. I got a really good book. There's a couple of us that are going to probably do it, and we're going to listen and we're going to read it and we're going to do the workbook and stuff like that. And I already have our second book planned out, but like for like an hour a week. The first book's about 6 hours long from listening to it, which will probably take a lot longer. And I'm thinking probably listen to it for about 15, 20 minutes so you don't get burnt out on it, then work on the worksheet and stuff like that. And I really feel like that's going to help our culture, plus keep everybody rowing in the same direction. Right. But that fellowship and the camaraderie of us learning together. But to be honest with you, and I cracked a joke earlier. It's like, I'm going to buy you guys a fucking book because I know you're not going to read it because I've asked you to read them for 3 fucking years. So guess what? You're going to get paid for an hour a week to read this fucking book with me. Right. But
true story. Just happened like 45 minutes ago.
Right.
True story.
But it's the truth. But listen, I know they're going to enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed it. Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's what you have to do to create a culture, because listen, I heard Eric Brewer say this, and it has been so true. Like, culture will outwin any process or system that you have in place, right? Like, you can have all the systems and all the processes in place that you want, but if your culture sucks, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. I think the first thing that a lot of business owners need to work on first and foremost is creating a great culture. Don't get me wrong. Systems and processes are very fucking important. Okay. But if you don't have culture, there's really you just, that's it.
Well, because if you have a group of people that work well together and actually give a fuck about, the betterment of the team. Yeah. It doesn't matter if, what the hell's that? Yeah. Did you guys hear that?
Sounded like a
anyways,
garbage disposal.
It does sound like a garbage disposal. If you have a group of people that are, working for the betterment of the team, if you have a hurdle to overcome, you're gonna get over that hurdle a lot better if everyone's working together. You can work through kinks and processes and all that kind of stuff. How many freaking processes have we developed and thrown to the curb and figured out that the shit didn't work, and like it wasn't a dumpster fire. We just realized that there needs to be tweaks and that kind of stuff. And, Brewer's a smart dude, man. Very few times will I hear stuff come out of his mouth and I'm like,
Oh, for real. And processes are definitely just as important. And we talk about this a lot. If you don't have a system in place. Okay, so with our system, it identifies 2 things really quickly, and it's the only 2 things that you really need to focus on is it's either a personnel issue or it's a system issue, right? If you don't have a system in place, you don't know what the issue is, right? It could be multiple things, but if everyone trusts the system and everyone's using the system, it's so much easier to know if we need to make a tweak, or the training wasn't good enough, or the person's lazy, or whatever the case might be. Because when I say personnel issue, I always feel like someone's going to take that in a negative light. Right. But I know when I'm pointing a finger, I got 3 pointing back at me. So it's like, did we not provide them the tools that they needed? Was the training not thorough enough? Did we skip a part of the process that we forgot? Or did someone cut corners or whatever? But don't get me wrong. Processes are very important too. But I think culture, without a good culture, nobody wants to row in the same direction and use the processes and systems, and then you can't scale.
Right. I couldn't agree more. And it's like, you're right. And these things aren't mutually exclusive, right? It's like you can have all 3 of these things living harmoniously together, and you should, because I'm a firm believer. I was on with Joseph Hughes earlier. We shot some content. Shout out to Joseph. And we were, in the absence of like systems and processes, shit doesn't get done, right? And accountability is elusive as fuck, right? If you don't have those things and you don't have things documented, you have no way to gauge, to have a barometer for success or failure, or to go back to, right? And I think a lot of people, like, even if you think about like CRMs, right? And like documenting things in your CRM, like, all right, sales rep A is closing at 20%, sales rep B is closing at 50%. We can go back and we can see, well, they're both running all referral leads. So why is there such a disparity? Because these two things are in common and there's a huge disparity. So is it, like you said, you can then figure out and back into what the issue is. Is it that you're deviating from the process? Do you have an in-home presentation sales style and this person's just emailing the quotes so they have a much lower close rate? Like, what is it? You can put your finger on the pulse and then identify, is it that they're unable or unwilling, right? If it does boil down to that, and then you can make decisions as a leader of your company and be like, you know what, I'm going to try to coach them through this. And depending on who you are, right, your patience with that individual is good. I think there's a wide range of outcomes there. But at least you have the opportunity to identify and diagnose what the issue is so that you can try to move in a direction that best suits the company.
Yes.
On the culture side, I fucking love that. So before I started Ascend, I worked for a company, I was in sales, and objectively, financially, I did very well in that position. I did well in sales, and the culture was lacking, to say the least, right? I learned a lot from the company. They did a lot for me. Like, I have no gripes with that, but when I decided that I was going to move on, I mean, they could have offered me $1 million a year, and there was no way that I was doing it, because that straw that broke this camel's back, it broke it, right? there was no coming back from that. I was so worn out from just like a toxic culture. You couldn't pay me enough to stay there. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. And that's the thing we talk about too. It's not always about the money. People usually quit, their leadership, not their job.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I can see that because I think we've all been in that position, but maybe not necessarily been able to identify it. They just thought their job sucked. But I think a lot of the times, I don't know what the percentage is, but I don't think people quit jobs. I think they quit their leadership.
Yeah. There's usually a point where someone deviates off course, and being a person in a managerial position, I'm not going to say a leader, but just someone that's responsible for other people. Part of your job is to know your people. If someone's having a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, you should be spending time trying to figure out what the hell's wrong. You know what I mean?
Like 6 months or 9 months.
People have it. Some people.
What if they're not honest with you?
Some people have years, man.
What if they're not honest with you when you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on?
If you do everything in your power, you can only do what you can do. But
do you keep them around?
Absolutely. Until they break your code of ethics, absolutely.
Okay, what if they did?
Then you fucking can them.
Okay.
Bad culture's got to go.
So you're saying you should have core values. You hire upon them and fire based upon them.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, I know you are. But that's one of the big things that we do have here, man. I think that we have a core values that I think differs from some people's. Mm-hmm. And we one of Ty's favorite things is, people say it's never personal. It's just business, but like, it's always personal. It's always personal because we all put our lives into this shit, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We put our blood, sweat, and tears. We spend more time with these people than I do my family. And, I'm not doing this just to make a paycheck. I do it to make a paycheck to support my family, but a lot of the people here give a shit about what that paycheck leads to. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The things that we can do for the community and for other people and changing people's lives, man, that's what matters.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. I said that I made a YouTube video not too long ago. It's like, money attracts talent, culture retains it. And a lot of people, like, they lose production or they lose salespeople. And it's like, I keep turning over, and it's like, if you have that culture, that camaraderie, that sense of belonging, that feeling of appreciation, and them actually liking their job and liking who they do it for, the likelihood of a salesperson leaving you for an extra, whatever, $5,000 in compensation a year is next to zero, right? I think that there would be a lot more trepidation, just in my personal experience and what I've heard. If somebody really likes their job, that you're going to lose them to the next highest bidder that's a couple bucks more an hour, or whatever the case may be. So That's
Yeah.
my take on it anyway.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, dude, especially with some of like the younger generation. I don't want to just say millennials, but the younger people these days, man, I feel like are way more prone to take a job that pays less. And I'll even put myself in that category. I would much rather make $2 less an hour, or make $200 less on my paycheck to go somewhere that I fucking love getting up to and going every day. Plain and simple. I mean, that's a no brainer. You spend so much time at your job and with the people. If you hate that shit, what kind of life is that, man?
Yeah.
That would suck so bad to get up and go to work and just every time you hit that snooze button, it's like, oh, I got to do this again.
Yep.
Like I can't. I've lived that life. You know what I mean? I've lived that life before. I'm thankful I don't live that life anymore, but I know that there's people out there that go through that every day, and like that's just got to be horrible.
Of course,
that's got to be horrible.
Absolutely. You know what's cool about things when you've been around long enough and you're in business long enough. You go through ups and downs, right? Like bad leadership, bad bosses. We were talking today about like, okay, that's a boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the definition of a boss, like dictatorship and stuff like that. But it's cool when you can kind of look around and see, John and I had a conversation today. It's like, not that we don't necessarily have like a set time that you need to be at the office. Like I think there's the better battles to choose to battle, right? Than worrying about if someone comes in 15 minutes late or if they got to leave an hour early or anything like that. I think once you create a culture of where people are showing up because of their teammates, and they like if their alarm clock goes off and they hit the snooze button by accident and they're 30 minutes late, I think the anxiety that they're feeling is not, oh shit, my boss is going to yell at me because I'm late, but more so like an, oh shit, I'm letting Baker down.
Right.
Oh shit, I'm letting Tam down. Oh shit, Sam. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think once you can create that culture, like we're all in this together, that you are so good at your job that I have a job today, right? Like I don't have to worry about if what you're doing. So it's like a twofold thing, right? Like, so Vic and Bake, like you guys, like that trickle down effect, right? That ripple effect of everyone being so good at their job, right? Like you show up, so Tam has a job today. You show up, so I have a job today, right? Like John shows up, and I know that. Yeah. Like I know that from you guys, right? Like what you do is such an intricate part of what we do. Absolutely. That you keep the pipeline full. And think about that ripple effect of like the jobs that you're bidding that's ready in 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years from now, right? That it's keeping that pipeline full, and the ripple effect from that is, right? Like, so the purchase orders come in, Ashley's got a job. We get the job done. Everybody that's on the job site has a job, right? Then the invoicing comes in, right? So we get the invoices, and then Sam's got a job, and then Ashley's got a job, Kim's got a job, Stacy's got a job, right? And then and then it's even bigger than that, right? Let's talk about like our distributor. Right. Like distributors. Think about it. Okay. So, and some of the companies that we use, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say, we were just talking about the measuring company that I'm not going to call any names out or anything. I wasn't either,
but like that company there, we know we've helped grow that company,
absolutely.
Right? Like that ripple effect, because we're all in this together. If I'm not here, I know I'm letting you down. If I'm not responding, you know what I mean? And this is the thing I was telling John. It's like, I know, like if Stacy has to leave early and take her dog to the vet, don't you think for 1 minute, if you don't get on Log Me In, if Stacy's not on her laptop at 7 p.m. at night. Yep. Do you know what I mean? To make up for that time. Yep. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to boast about, and I see Mike sitting there thinking this motherfucker's taking the show hostage, talking about his fucking big dick.
I love this shit.
But it's kind of cool to kind of watch that come to fruition, right? And it's sad that some people, when they wake up in the morning, it's like, oh, fuck. Yeah. I got to go to work today. And it's like, it's not even work. And like you said, we spend more time with each other than we do our own families. Right. Even when we're at home. We're still not with our families sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So thank you.
For sure.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And every other TC backer team member that's out there watching, thank you for that.
Yeah. And just to touch real quick on, the direction you started this with you and John talking about, if people, there isn't really a set time to come and go. We've built such a good culture around here that it's not even really a question. If someone's rolling out at 3:30 when they normally roll out at 4:30 or something, I know for sure that they either have something important going on that they're cutting out, or there is a such thing as productive man hours. I mean, if someone just, busted their ass for seven days last week, maybe they're come 3 o'clock. They're like, man, I'm burnt right now. I'm going to roll. I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight and kick it. You know what I mean? Kick it tomorrow. But very, very, very rarely do we ever have instances where it's like, I wonder what so-and-so's doing. Like they're not, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's very, very, very rare. Because you can't, man. And it takes a team. If you think about it, it's almost like if I like to use the sheep herding analogy. You don't have one guy that herds of cattle or sheep. You have to constantly be riding around, and you got a couple guys that are riding around and getting the sheep to go in the formation you want. You know what I mean? And like you said, where everyone's not rowing in the same direction. You got to make sure that the leaders, the people that run the company, are able to see the people that are straying off, and you go push them back into the herd. So it's great, man.
How do you actualize and bring to fruition the culture that you guys have established and continue to build at TC Backer? What are some of the, you mentioned core values, right? How does it go from something that's just fucking, graphic on the wall into like your staff actually embodying that, right? And what other factors have been at play? What does that look like?
I mean, I can answer that. It's that guy. And actually, if I point this way on the camera, it's that guy right there, doing what the fuck he says he's going to do, man. That's what it comes down to. I mean, you can sit behind a desk and fucking bark orders and say that you're this and you're that and self-proclaim all you want, but he's the first one in, the last one to leave. I know that when he goes on these trips, he's fucking working. He will be the first one to put his tool pouch on, and that shit trickles down, man. That trickles down. That's one of the very first things that I respected of him when I came to work here. I worked for bosses that didn't know how to put roofs on. They were literally just, fell into money and bought a roofing company and hired some people to run that shit. You know what I mean? But we're the first ones coming on the job sites with, their Mercedes and their nice clean hard hats that weren't dirty and, telling us how we should be doing stuff. And it's like, shut up, man. Go back to your office. But it's leading by example, and it takes time, man. It takes time because there's going to be times that you slip up, and he's not perfect. You know what I mean? There's been times that maybe he came out the side of his neck because there was something going on that one of us just happened to be the first one in the door that he felt comfortable with to unload what was bothering him. That wasn't even anything that we did. You know what I mean? But he's the first one to apologize if that happens. Takes care of us and our family. I mean, that's the shit that matters, man. Being a good fucking person. Yeah. That's basically all I can say.
Thank you for that. I'm going to try to be humble and thank you and not say shut the fuck up. But thank you. When you were talking, Mike, and you asked him that question, thank you for that. And I do believe in leading by example, and that's, my hard hat's fucking clean right now. So,
go back to your fucking office.
Yeah. But it's the core values, right? You hire upon that and you fire upon that, right? And I think once you get that, and believe me, we recently, John, maybe 2 years ago, finally, like we had a plaque made that had 4 core values on it, right? And then I think when you bring that up in the initial interview, right? So like take your time interviewing somebody. We've started this process not that long ago where we do 3 interviews with the same person, right? Once as like me individually with them, 2 with the group, and usually if they show up by the 3rd one, that's a good sign, right? But you mentioned the core values, right? You bring that up, and then you bring them on, and the key to that is hire slow, let go quickly, right? Now, I'm not always the best at that because like Chris had mentioned earlier, if something's going on, we try to figure out, hey, what's going on with this person? Like we're not really that quick to fire, especially if they fit the culture. If we feel like they have potential and they fit the culture. If they have the it. Yeah, the it.
You know what I mean? Because that shit's hard to find.
Right. But do like a 30 and 90 day review with them, right? Like, how's this working out after 30 days? Because usually by then you can figure it out, but then give them that 90 days so you still have an out and they still have an out. Like no hard feelings, man. If you're not a good fit, you're not a good fit. Like we let somebody go And because just simply because they didn't fit the culture, right? It wasn't necessarily the core value. It was just that they didn't fit the culture. So what we did was we gave them a 2-week notice, right? Fair, try to be fair, right? Hey, we'll give you a great referral, but hey, here's your 2-week notice, right? Which was cool because I think they left there and they found a job like within 2 days. Okay. And then when you have to let somebody go and they cross that line, that core value line, it makes it super simple, right? Makes it super simple.
No gray area then.
There's no gray area. You just bring up the core values, right? So to go one step further with that, and just to let everybody know, and I'm sure a couple of people have heard me say this to them, but what we're going to do is we're going to redo our core values as a group, as a company, as an entire company to make it even easier to hold each other accountable. Like, Bake, you're the one that threw integrity up on the wall. Like, so what's up?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Or Vic, you're the one that chose loyalty. What's up? You know what I mean? So I think I think by us doing that, and I'm just trying to throw a nugget out there for somebody. Again, I'm not trying to show you how big my dick is. I'm just stating that I feel like that's going to be a good growth culture type of activity as a team where they're making the core values, not me this time. Right. Yeah. Let them make the decisions. So then when I do come out of my office and be like, yo, Bake, what the fuck, bro?
Right.
You broke 3 of these.
Yeah. Right.
Now what am I going to do? Everybody watched it. And I think when people watch you follow those guidelines and you set that example, like you got to go, because there's one individual about 2 years ago that when I brought him and he was my friend he became my friend, like after 6-7 years of working for me, he crossed that boundary. And that's what I said to him. I was like, dude, you made this real easy for me. I don't even have to explain it. Turn around and look at the wall. And I said, get off.
So is it being misaligned or unaligned with one of the core values, 2, 3? Like, what is the line that's crossed where you're like, you got to fucking go?
Dude, I feel like the core values overlap so much that you don't just cross one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like if you don't have integrity, then you're probably not fucking loyal. Like you're obviously not a good person if you don't have integrity. I think integrity holds a lot of value. What you do when people aren't watching you.
So what are your 4 core values presently?
Right now, what is it? Integrity,
loyalty,
honesty, and there's one more. I think it's hard work.
No,
I know it sounds pathetic that I don't remember what they are, but John, I'm sure if John's on there,
integrity, loyalty. Yes, accountability. I think is it.
I like that.
Yeah. So, but this is the thing. I can assure you that integrity won't be on it this time because I think that's such an overrated word, and anybody who uses it probably doesn't have it. And unfortunately, that's just how I feel. So that will be the number one that comes off there, even though that's the very first one on it. That's just how I feel about it. I think it's like overused word, and I think a lot of times those who are overusing it don't have it.
Did I use that when I explained what makes us different? I didn't say integrity. Okay.
No, not at all.
Morals. John just threw it out there. Morals.
Oh, my bad. It was morals. Sorry.
What is your favorite interview question?
Favorite interview question? Do you have one?
I like to know what people's support system's like.
I think that's good. That's an important one.
You know what I mean? Because life happens, man. Life happens. Yeah. I mean, we're a pretty family oriented operation. And very rarely is someone going to question you when you got shit going on with your family. Because I mean, we're a big family.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps to have a big support system, man. Especially, I don't even want to go down that path.
Sorry, I asked, guys.
Yeah, I guess I didn't understand the question. One that I like to be asked, or one that I like.
When you're hiring somebody, you're considering bringing them into the family, right? What's one that you? What's one? Because here's the thing, right? You've got all your corporate, like, what's your greatest weakness, and it's fucking blah, right? But like, I know that I've got a couple that I like that helps me because I don't. Anybody can sell themselves in an interview, but like, let's get real. Like, let me know who you are as a person, things that are important to you, why, right? So I was just curious as to like insight that you have of any question that you think has helped you, find those candidates that have the it factor, right?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this a couple times, especially the last couple times, and I think Amanda was probably one of our last hires. I told her all of the negative stuff first. right? You know what I mean? Like, we work hard around here. This probably isn't going to be easy because we all bust our ass. And there was a couple other things that I started out with all the negative stuff. Like, look, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, man. Like, we're trying to build a fucking empire here, and either you're with us or you're not with us. Can you handle it? You know what I mean? And I listened to her. So I like to ask a few questions and then shut up. That's probably the biggest lesson that I've learned, because I used to feel like I used to have to sell people to come work for us. But now it's kind of like we haven't had to do that for a minute. So it's like now I need to have them sell me. You know what I mean? I don't know why I did that. I just kind of felt like, you know, I was being interviewed by them as well for whatever reason, insecurity or whatever my issue was at the time. But now it's kind of like I listen to them to try to sell me. Like, sell me. What value are you going to bring us? What asset are you going to be? Are you willing to bust your ass and kill yourself for me? Will you take a bullet for me? You know what I mean? And honest to goodness, I believe that there's not an individual standing underneath the roof of this building that probably wouldn't take a bullet for me, because they know I would for them. And I probably have many times, whether it be a metaphoric bullet or whatever.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I like it.
Culture, man.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. I don't push, man. It's just get straight to the fucking point.
Yeah.
Do you work hard or don't you work hard? If you don't work hard, get the fuck out. Seriously, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
because the shitty thing is, man, is we have a group of individuals that, you know what, the work's going to get done. It's going to get done. But it's not fair to people that if they don't want to pull their weight, it's not fair.
No, it's not fair to others because
people work hard, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. It's good stuff. This is a great topic.
Yeah, I like one of the things that I like to ask, and it's not so much like how they prioritize them, but it's more so like how they articulate why they prioritize them the way they do. So I'll say like, okay, so if you grab a pen and paper and I'll have them write it down, and it's like, okay, write down culture, write down work-life balance, write down money, write down family, write down client experience, and then write down upward mobility, right? And I want you to assign from most important to least important, and take your time, right? Take your time to do this, because I want you to explain to me why you prioritize them the way you do. And just how people process in that moment, because that's not like a typical interview question, I feel like, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of, I feel like it'll probably be like an anxiety-riddled situation for that individual, which is kind of shitty. But I want to see, like, I think that's when you get the real of people. It's like in those uncomfortable moments, like it's hard to bullshit your way through that, right? So like, show me who you are. Show me. And the answers that you get is they range and they're good. I like it. So that's one that works for me.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's real good. One of the things I learned with a salesperson, I only tried it on one. We as a hire, and this was a little while ago, is that I rejected him. And I wanted to see how he responded to the rejection so I could gauge how well of a salesperson he was. I forgot about that. I did that to Tom G.
I remember that.
Like 3 times I did it to this dude, and he kept coming back. Like he was like a glutton for fucking punishment.
Fucking hired.
But it was great. It was great. Like and this man is a freaking closer, bro.
Yeah.
Like he's a good dude, man. Yeah, he's a good dude. I forgot I did that to him. So yeah, have fun with it, bro. Whatever we're doing, man, just have fun with it, man. And that's probably the biggest thing, right? It's trudging the road to happy destiny, not tiptoeing through the fucking tulips.
Yeah.
Right. You know, we're trying to do historical shit here, and everybody knows that. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And everybody's bought in. And to be a good fucking storyteller and have them buy into your story, man, you got it fucking licked.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So aside from hiring people with the it factor and core values, what's one other thing that you guys feel has created that ecosystem where you guys are all willing to take a bullet for one another, right? Because I don't feel like that's the norm in companies, to be honest. And I'm not stroking your ego, but I think it's really easy to talk about. I think it's really challenging to actually make it happen. So the fact that you guys are living it is impressive. So like, if anyone else out there is listening and they're trying to aspire to have that type of culture, like what's the next most important thing for
That's a toughie, man.
I'm
The
sorry.
interviewee becomes the interviewer.
I didn't even hear it. I'm sorry. I started spacing out. I saw a squirrel.
Basically, he wants to know, like, what's one other thing? What do you think the next most important thing is that we do here that has created the culture? Outside of the things that we've already said, to that leads you to say
That's easy.
with the proverbial bullet. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
what do you think caused that to happen? To have a room full of people that would take that proverbial bullet.
What do you think? What do you think did it?
Yeah.
What do you think did it?
So you've got the people with the it factor, you've got you leading by example, and then you've got the core values. Is there one last piece that somebody who's watching, aside from those things, that could implement to try to recreate that type of ecosystem in their company?
I think one of the biggest things. So there's probably a couple things, right? Like I think
got a good one too.
I think they watch how, and I don't even want to talk about it. So is this a question about me? Because I don't want to say me, I here. I just feel like I think a lot of people have watched me over the years, how I've treated other people, right? Like, and that I didn't even know were watching me, right? So I hate to use the word integrity at this point in time, but like, let's just say there was a bad install, right? And I identified it and the homeowner didn't know, right? Well, we would go out and tear it off, right? Doesn't matter. It was fucked up. We're fucking fixing it, right? We'll be the first one. Not just that as far as like production goes, but as individuals, right? I think they've watched me. We do like a second and third chance program, right? Especially if you didn't lie to me or steal from me, right? Because that's just two things I can't tolerate that, right? And I would almost rather have you steal from me than lie to me, right? Like I just can't stand a fucking liar. I can't do it. Can't do it, right? But those are the only two things. But like I think the way that we've treated people and have taken care of them, and they know that I'm sincere, right, about like their family. It's not about them. You know who I'm more concerned about is their family and their well-being, and are they able to take care of their family? And I'm not just saying that. Like I've been tried and true to that for over a decade and a half from day one, And I've talked about, even something as simple as unemployment. Right now, I'm going back to business, but to be able to provide unemployment. Why? God forbid something happened, I had to lay you off. Right? How about workers' comp insurance? What if you get fucked up?
Yeah.
Right? And then how about providing health insurance? Right? These are all things that I said we were going to do, and guess what happened? Right? The next biggest thing was 401k. Guess what? It took a little longer than I expected it would. But guess what? Motherfucker can retire from here now, right? And that's because, and I'll say this, and I'll say it every goddamn week, and I don't give a fuck because I believe it. I believe this, that my dream has to be big enough for Baker's dream to fucking fit in. And mark my words, I'm not into this for the money. Like you hear all these other little cocksuckers running around here about impact and legacy and all this other horseshit, right? Because they read a fucking book. No, like live that shit, right? Like own a fucking company for a decade and a half, keep fucking 70 employees around, and then come talk to me about that horse shit. That's just my opinion.
Mic drop, baby. Mic drop, baby. I want to add something to this too, because I think another thing that we do different around here, man, is everyone in this fucking place has a voice. We get a big group of people, some of the leaders of the company all sit around every week. And it's an open floor. We have an open voice. You know what I mean? There's not one person that's directing this place. We have the ability to change processes, to give ideas, and people actually listen to them and try them, and we try them. And if they don't work, there's no hard feelings. You know what I mean? It's not like, yo, your fucking idea sucked, man. Thanks for nothing. It's never anything like that.
That's not productive to handle it that way.
Are you sure? Not even once?
At least
I'm doing this all wrong.
At least not in front of them, right? Right. But I mean, I think that plays a big part too, because people feel important. You know what I mean? They feel like they matter, and they feel like their ideas are taken into consideration. And I think that also goes a lot with the culture.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try to
I like
let
yours
everybody-
better, but
Like let everybody participate. Just like we were going back to, like, we all need to sit in a room and come up with core values. They have skin in the game now,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a voice, they have an opinion, and it matters. Because I'm probably the dumbest person standing in that room today, and I'm okay with saying that. There are so many more smarter fucking people around me today, but that wasn't by mistake. I know I'm a dum-dum in certain areas, a lot of areas, right? There's a lot of corners that I can't look around. Or sometimes I choose to not look around them. I guess that's the to be in the position that I'm in today. I kind of have that luxury, but like Baker said, I'll be the first one. I still drive an F-250 pickup with a ladder on it, with a toolbox. I have no problem throwing my tool pouch on.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the production end of it. That's why I need smarter people on the interior of the company, because I got the exterior covered, bro. Know that.
Know that. Yeah, I don't have a ladder rack on my truck, so just know that.
Hey,
Yeah, Zach,
listen,
more
I'll buy
gooder.
you one.
More gooder.
I'll buy you one, bro. Like, I don't understand. You see these roofing companies with these jacked up trucks, and they're hot, but they don't have a ladder rack on it, dude. What's that about? Is that like the cool thing down south?
I'm waiting. My office is 7 minutes from Canada, so I don't know nothing about the South.
Right. I love a jacked up pick 'em up truck. Don't get me wrong, bro, but you gotta throw a goddamn ladder rack on that bitch, man. Make yourself, like, I don't know if that's worse than like a chuck in a truck. So what do you call that?
You can't say that no more. Chuck's gonna get fucking pissed,
where's
bro.
Chuck at?
Chuck's gonna get pissed.
I don't know. Rake without a brake. I don't know. What is a ladder? Larry without a ladder? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like a
Without a
McDonald's that
ladder?
don't sell cheeseburgers.
Right?
It just doesn't make sense. I don't know. But yeah, man, this has been a good one. This has been a good one. We got a real hot take at the end there, man.
Yeah, we did.
That shit was spicy.
It was. It was.
All right, Ty,
was.
one more thing, bro. TC Backer's been around for how long now? 15 years? 10 years? 12 years?
Coming up on 15 years.
Coming up on 15.
Yeah.
What's the biggest thing that you fucked up or a mistake that you've made along the way, and what did you learn from it?
Ooh, a lot of them. A lot of them. I would say the biggest thing was that trying to hold on too long and becoming the bottleneck in the business and keeping us back, holding us back was probably, to answer that question, that was probably my biggest mistake. Was I probably held on too long, but then there's also a fine line there that I think a lot of people let go too quick. They start delegating too quickly. So I think there's a fine line of balance there. I guess it depends on where you want to go and how fast you want to go there. Like, I honestly believe that we could have been a lot further along if I let go quicker.
Yeah, I think a lot of people with the mentality that have the sickness to start a business. No, I'm kidding, but kind of. I think that it can be challenging, man. It's your baby, right? Like, you're pouring your heart, like blood, sweat, tears, everything into this thing, and it's like there's a lot at risk, especially for the individual who's risking everything. And as that matures, learning to delegate has been wildly impactful for me. And I'm still learning, honestly, right? Because I still, I'll hear one of my managers talking to the production team, and it's like, I'll butt in, right? And I'm like, never mind, go ahead. Like, Mike, shut the fuck up. Like, let Charlie do his job. God damn it, right? And that's part of that letting go thing that you're talking about, right? It's a challenge for me, so I can relate.
Right on. Yeah, man.
So how did you learn to let go?
How did I?
Yeah.
High blood pressure, acid reflux.
Death scare.
Yeah.
You're gonna let go or die. What do you want to do?
Seriously, right? Well, if I didn't because I don't want to say me, what we accomplished maybe like in the first 7 years, for years, I had people ask me, how do you do it? How did you do it? How do you do it? And I mean, from when we were in my living room to the barber shop to the office back there, I remember Bob Marino from SRS coming in here and saying, dude, how do you do this? And I was like, I love it, man. I love the control chaos, man. I love this shit. I love it. I love it. I would just, I was like, I love this shit, man. I live and eat, breathe.
Man, you're grabbing my funnel with that 6-pack of Red Bulls.
So I'm camping with my family, right? We're closing the fucking camper up. I end up in the hospital. I'm like actually doing something that I enjoy, but it's got me all stressed the fuck out because I'm not here, right? Like, I don't want to be with my family. I got to be back to fucking work so I can take care of my family, right? That's what I was thinking, right? But here I am. I'm not even present. And I still struggle with that. Don't get that twisted.
Sure.
Because I struggle with this work-home life balance horse shit too that people talk about all the time. You fucking pussy, get to work. Did I just say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Fuck. I lost my train of thought there. Oh, so anyhow, I fucking squirrel. I ended up in the hospital. I found out that I was stroking out. That's what they said. You're not allowed to leave here, right? I'm like 29 years old. I'm just kidding. I was a little bit older than that. So like,
not much older,
right? But they're like, you can't leave here, and I'm like, why? They're like, well, we got to get your blood pressure's like through the roof, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, but my guts are on fire. Like I can't, like I'm buckled over, right? Like I can't move. Like it's got me, and my threshold for pain is it runs pretty deep, whether it be self-inflicted pain or physical pain, right? Like I can take it a little better than most people, but like I couldn't move. And so I'm laying there for a few hours down at BB Hospital in Lewis, Delaware. And they were like, you got high, your blood pressure is like, well, I don't even remember what it was, but it was through the freaking roof. My stomach's on fire. So they gave me this liquid Novocaine shit to like calm that down. Mm-hmm. And then finally they cut me a couple scripts, and then we went to Walgreens up the street. And ever since then, I, have taken care of my body a lot better, because most of it was just that. You know what I mean? Smoking a bunch, and I still smoke. I go through ups and downs on that, and I still drink the hell out of Red Bull. But I work out. I try to eat right, and I think working out's probably the biggest thing, because in my twisted mind, it's like I can eat whatever I want as long as I burn 300 calories on the treadmill. I'll be all right.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I got to be here for my family, or none of this is going to be worth it, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I do have an end game or an end goal, right? But like, there's still so much more that we got to do. And thank God for Jana, right? Like, Jana's my better half. Like, she is the boss. Whether if anybody knows it or not, because every good man has a great woman behind them. And I don't care if you're the president, the vice president, and owner of a company, if you have a significant other, who do you think helps make those decisions at night when they're laying in bed and they're like, honey, I just don't know what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. I don't. And again, I don't care if you're Bill Clinton, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whatever. Don't think for one frickin' second that they're not a big influence on their decision making. You know what I'm saying? And Jana's been my rock. She's been my ride or die, and she gets it. She knows I'm fucking crazy, and she's cool with that. You know what I mean? And thank God, because she gets me. She gets me. And that's the thing about relationships too. Like, they got to know what they're in for, right? And I think that's why I struggle with this work-home life thing, because I think the significant others, if they're a nutty bitch, man, they're going to hold you back, right? So you got to find that queen, right? You got to find that queen that will take care of your household, take care of the family, because daddy's at work, man, kicking ass, right? And then when you come home, that shit's got to be peaceful, right? And that's what Jana does for me, right? I get home, that fucking shit smells good. The fucking laundry's folded, man. The dogs are taken care of. The kids been to the doctors, the hospital, the whatever they got to do. They're dropped off at school, picked up from school. She's got that shit on lockdown. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I don't even have to worry about that shit, man. I know she's going to have a smile on her face when I get home. So big shout out to Jana. Yeah. Shout out, Jana.
You found you a real one. Yeah, shout out to Lacey while we're at it, because she's the best. No, I think that I couldn't agree more, man. Like, having that voice of reason and somebody to bounce things off of, really, like, I don't know. I don't know how she fucking deals with me, if I'm being honest. So God bless her heart. I don't know. I'm the type of dude, man. Like, when I wake up, I'm just an anxious fucking person, right? And what soothes my anxiety is fucking getting to work, right? And the great thing about what I can do, I can wake up at 4:35 in the morning and start working from my laptop, and nobody knows I'm working. And the sense of gratification that I get when it's fucking 8 o'clock and I know I've done more work than a lot of people are going to do in an 8-hour day, like that shit does it for me. That puts me at peace mentally, right? And then that just kind of carries throughout the day and kind of snowballs in a positive way. So I get it, dude. I get it.
Yeah. All good stuff.
Yeah. It's good shit.
Yeah.
We're at an hour and 20 minutes, guys.
Is that it? I'm just getting started.
I know you are.
Get this fucking guy out of here.
I actually have to go pick my daughter up from work here in 20 minutes. So,
Okay, well, I'll let you slide on that. That's cool.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks
dude,
for
this
coming
has been a great episode, man. It's been a great episode for sure. TC Backer family, make sure you guys go check out our YouTube page, subscribe to that shit. I know you guys are out there watching this shit and you're not subscribing. I'm going to keep saying it every week until you subscribe, then I'll shut up. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Behind the Tool Belt. Make sure if you're a local business, you guys come check us out for the 21 Turkey Salute. We definitely still have sponsorship opportunities if you want to sponsor a turkey or something like that. We're shutting the whole city block down. Same place we did it last year. We got a flyer on the Facebook page, 21 Turkey Salute page. We got that coming up on the 23rd. Shout out to 23rd. I said 3rd on purpose. Shout out to Johnny Stauffer.
Yes.
I did that just for you, Vic. But yeah, come check us out. We're gonna deep fry a shitload of turkeys. I'm not gonna tell you the number. You have to look at the flyer or reach out to one of us or come there.
Yeah. Most
Eat some turkey.
Screw the sponsorships. Just come down and help us.
Yeah.
Or come down and eat turkey. Whatever.
Yeah.
And while y'all subscribing to that YouTube channel, hop onto the Send Digital Agency and subscribe to that one too.
Yes,
Give it all two for.
Do it.
Yes.
Follow, like, subscribe. All
Yeah.
that
Mash
good stuff.
that fucking like button.
Yeah.
Mash it.
Hopefully you get better luck than we do, man, because these guys don't freaking listen to us. They don't subscribe to that shit.
93% of
That's the
my,
same number it was last week,
viewership. 93% of my viewership is from people that don't subscribe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, go subscribe to that shit. It takes 2 seconds.
I'm doing it right now.
It helps the algorithms.
I think I'm going to subscribe to our own shit, too, while I'm at it.
There we go. We both got a new subscription. Yeah.
One of the culprits.
It's a net positive for everyone.
I think I was number 3.
Yeah, I know I'm subscribed because my kids be watching this show at home when I'm eating breakfast. Sometimes I'll be watching myself on TV. I'm like, guys, turn that shit off. I can't be listening to myself eat or talk while I'm fucking eating breakfast.
Yeah, no, this is great, man. We'll do it again in the future. We'll circle back in a few months.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
You going to RoofCon?
I'll be at RoofCon. We got a booth there, and we're gonna have some shit there. So we'll link up.
Are you bringing your podcast down there?
Yeah, I think I have to, man.
All right, listen, I'll run your podcast for an hour, and you come up and run ours.
I'm fucking so with it. Yep.
Yeah, let's swap. Let's
do
a white
that
swap
shit
for an hour.
Got you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thanks a lot, fellas.
Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for episode 148. Everyone have a good rest of your week.
Yep.
Peace.